First Watch Now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
So we're talking about football for Buena and for local high schools. So where are we at with that now?
Well, I just got an update yesterday that October 9th, that the Buena Colts will be traveling to South Point Catholic High School to participate in a football game up there. But what I understand, that's the only game they got locked in on a schedule right now. It's just everything's so up and down with the COVID and trying to get schedules locked in. Not all the Tucson schools are coming back right now, or they are back. So, but I know October 9th, your Buena Colts will be playing the South Point Lancers up there. So hopefully we can do a radio there. We'll see what that looks like. We're trying to get that set up with your radio station here.
So you've been pretty busy all week. So tell us a couple of things that you did last week and this week, starting with Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yeah, it's been you can tell things are getting back to some kind of normalcy, whatever that means. But it's been busy. Last Saturday, Mayor Rick Mueller from Sierra Vista and I went over and did a proclamation for the Daughters of the American Revolution. And I didn't know a lot about them, but let me tell you, it was held at Sierra Vista Mall in one of the old stores. It was packed. I mean, the people there, the mothers and grandmothers and you name it were there, and the young people that were embracing the history and education and patriotic views. And that's their three objectives, by the way. And so it was just really, really well received. They have their president for the children of the American Revolution is a student out of Notre Dame Prep up in the Phoenix area, and he did a presentation about the symphony and how we need to take the history of the symphony and embrace it. It was really well done for a high school student, just well done. So, again, thanks to the adults and the mothers and the ladies out there that are making this happen.
And then you had CASA, and that's an organization that's been around for a really long time. They showed up just after, I started with the Sheriff's Office, believe it or not. So I remember that they started at the county attorney and the court area.
Yeah, and CASA's been around since, and this is their 31st year in Cochise County. It started September 25th, 1989. CASA, which means Court Appointed Special Advocacy, and what they do is they help kids that are in state care, foster care, kinship care. They've been mandated through the court system, and it usually starts with law enforcement. Usually law enforcement goes to a home, we see a situation and where the kids are removed, and they're usually not good situations, I'll just say that. And so since 1989, Cochise County CASA has done an amazing job of helping these kids. And so last night they had their volunteer recognition, and one of the members I want to give a shout out to is Mary Blanchard. Mary's been a volunteer with CASA for over 20 years. She has helped over, I think, 60 kids, 4,202 hours, and hundreds of court reports. And these CASA volunteers actually work with the kids. They write reports for the court. They're their advocate, and they do that free of charge. They go out there and give their time, their passion, their community back. And one of the big things we do, I'm the president of CASA, the advisory council, and we actually raise funds. We're the 501c component. We raise funds, and then we give donate these funds to the kids. And to give you samples of what we do, we give every kid, and we also adopted Graham and Greenlee County. So we had their CASA programs attached to Cochise. So last year we spent $25,000 for gift cards for every kid in this program, in CASA and foster care for Christmas. Each one got a gift card. Then their birthdays, we started that last year too, is every kid that month's birthday, we give them a gift card. And then we give them money to go back to school so they can buy school supplies, clothes, you name it. Thanksgiving, we give them money to make sure they have that money to give the meals. We give it to their mentors so they can make sure the kid gets the money and it's well spent. And so we try to bring normalcy back to these kids that normally they don't see. So they had their recognition last night. Abby Dodge, who does it's Cochise County's CASA coordinator, put that on last night, did an amazing job. And a shout out to the judge, Superior Court judges, Judge Kelleher, Judge Bannon, Judge Conalog, all these judges that truly care about these kids, and the criminal justice here and the county attorney's office, Brian McIntyre, everybody has come together to make sure kids in CASA are taken care of. So that's truly a community event I want to give a shout out to.
They do an amazing job. They truly
do.
And it started out doing that. So taking care of kids is really important. So we appreciate all of them.
And that's our future. And these kids didn't ask for those situations. Whatever it may be at home, it's, like I said, it's normally not a good situation that the court or the state or law enforcement has to intervene. So if we can bring something positive to these kids, and I said last night, we provide them health, happiness, and hopefully some hope.
That's right. And moving on to Canyon Vista, they are a really good partner with law enforcement, public safety. So they had a roundtable that you went to, and what did they talk about there? Well,
all the hospitals in this county are just been very, very good partners for law enforcement. I'll just say, from the Wilcox Hospital, Benson, Copper Queen, and the Chiricahua, all the way into Canyon Vista. And Bob Gomes, over at the CEO at Canyon Vista, he brings law enforcement leadership together about every quarter. Depends on the need. And we just talk about different things, from inmates that we bring over from our jail to mental health to whatever it may be. If we had a problem while we were there, if they had a problem with law enforcement, how can we do things better that doesn't disrupt law enforcement? It's more efficient, more effective, and also keeps the hospital, because we don't want to bring inmates into the lobby where people, are trying to get care and sit there with. We want the limited exposure for the inmates to come out of our jail. Or if an officer from any of the agencies brings somebody in, how do we get them into the ER room, get that treatment, and get them out with limited exposure? That's the biggest thing.
And they're doing that specifically due to the pandemic right now and the COVID response and COVID protocols. So we've noticed even changes. We've had modifications to our offices where you have to, make appointments to get your fingerprints done, but you can still get them done on certain days and times.
Right.
Getting access into our offices themselves, physically into the lobby. So we're making sure that we take care of that. And something of note is it's also impacted the courts. There's a large trial going on right now, and nobody is allowed in the courtroom itself. Even media representatives have to call in on the phone versus sitting in an outside atrium area. And the jury is sitting in the gallery, and so they're socially distanced and separated. So that's a really good way to do things to make sure you keep everybody safe.
Well, and that was a mandate that came down from the state. I mean, through the judicial high court that mandated this. That includes lobbies too, not just in the courtroom, but it's also the lobbies. You just can't walk into a court lobby now and sit around. I mean, and we share lobbies with our 6 justices of the peace around the county, the judges, and we got it. You just can't come in and sit around like that. It's very, very restrictive, and even for trials, I know some people have asked, I can't be at this trial. I can't go. Hey, it's all about safety. It truly is, without hindering or stopping the criminal justice system, which is most important. The system has to go on. We want to make sure that people that need to go to trial and get their day in court. But we also, people that want to see it can call in, or there's a virtual system, and that's not always open up too. I know there was a case here recently where people were upset because they couldn't see the trial virtually. That's totally up to the judge.
There's also some COVID testing going on right now if you'd like to take advantage of that. The Cochise County Health Department, in collaboration with the Arizona National Guard, free testing today from 3 to 7 at Cochise College Sierra Vista main campus. The address for that is 901 Colombo Avenue. And there's no pre-registration. You just simply show up and you get tested. And then also there's events at the County Complex in Bisbee tomorrow and Sunday in Huachuca City. And that's going to be at the Senior Center. And both of those events are also 3 to 7.
And make sure that if you want testing, you can check that out. We'll have that on our Facebook page here shortly. So take a look at it, and you'll have all of the addresses and the times and the dates.
And I want to give the health department, county health department, a shout out. Carrie Lang just left, and I wish her well. And Jennifer Lackesill is coming in there right now, and I tell you, she's doing an amazing job.
Jennifer.
Yes, she just jumped right in there. I know she's working very, very closely with our staff, Commander Bradshaw, and all the officers at our jail to keep them safe. And the testing going on down there, it's truly a team effort. So thanks to the health department and all they're doing to keep our jail safe.
And keeping our community safe, too. One of the things that we've dealt with in the past is rabies. So we wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this quarter testing resulted in no positives. Yay for Cochise County.
I saw that. It was just all negatives. But, boy, There's a lot of skunks out there.
There are. And so that's why I wanted to tell people there are a lot of skunks out there. I have no idea when the breeding, birthing season is, but I'm assuming it's right now because we put that on our Facebook, and somebody even said that between a 3-mile stretch that they count of 14 skunks on the roadway.
Wow.
So we want to make sure you don't use them as like whack-a-moles, but just understand that they're going to be out there and try not to run over them.
There's a smelly consequence to those whack-a-moles when you
They
you
really
hit those.
are.
They really are. But it is true, actually, from the 90-80 junction into the city of Bisbee, it's like an obstacle course of the skunks, and their little corpses are laying there, and you don't want to run over them, obviously, because you're going to live that for a long, long time, and then your spouse, when you bring your smelly car home, is going to deal with that. So the best, look at Grady, I think it looks like there's a story here somewhere,
right?
But truly, they're all over the place. It's like, wow, where are they all coming from? So, and go back to your question about the breeding season, I couldn't tell you, but there's a lot of them out there.
So make sure you vaccinate your animals.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Keep doing that, yeah.
And that is true. That's a very, very good point to make.
Well, the last day to register to vote's coming up October 5th, and it's very important that you get out and vote and register because there's lots of different benchmarks coming up.
Well, there's some things, and hopefully here we'll talk about some of the initiative measures coming up. I know 208's a big prop one on education. Maybe we get Jackie to come in, Jackie Clay, our county superintendent, talk about that one. And I think 207, 208, both are educational propositions. So there's some things out there. I know they're trying to push the legalization of recreational marijuana again. I know some of the sheriffs aren't too thrilled with that. When I was reading their day, we got a copy of that. And so hopefully we need to schedule a time where we talk about that here, come up on one of our shows. But yeah, get out and vote. And I know one thing that we've been dealing quite a bit with is political signs. And I wanted to hit on that just quickly this morning is if somebody puts a sign on your property, you have the right to take that down, as long as it's your private property. You cannot take signs down if it's not your private property. People have a right to put them on right-of-ways and other people's property, whether you believe with the sign or not. You cannot. It's a crime actually to remove a sign. So we've been dealing with a lot of questions on that, and you can't tamper or mess with political signs. That is a crime. It truly is. So we're doing extra patrols in areas, and we've taken some reports on that. And I talked to a gentleman yesterday that they're putting the signs on power poles. SSVEC, the sponsor of the show, they're putting signs on there. He wanted my deputies to take those down. And I told him, I said, no, my deputies aren't going to take political signs down. It's not the business of the sheriff's office. A, we don't have the time, and B, it's not our business. And so he said, well, they need to take it down. Well, that's up to the owner of that pole, which is SSVEC in this question. And he'd already contacted them. I said, if SSVEC wants us to address the crime of putting it on their pole, we can do that, but we're not in their business of removing signs. So again, if somebody's going to put a political sign up, if they put it on your private property, you have the right to address that and remove it. But if it's not on your private property, you do not. And if it's on a county or a highway right away, you cannot remove that. And it's all about respect. If you're going to put a sign by somebody's house, go talk to the person, see if they're okay with that out of respect. And I made a comment to this individual, and this is not to be wise, but it's to make a point. You look at yard sales around. We're a popular yard sale community, and some of those yard sale signs, they leave them up forever. Yard sale's over, and we're all, wow, take your yard sale sign down. And but nobody ever calls us on that. But people are calling us on political signs. Just a thought. Just a thought. So again, if you got a question, contact your law enforcement, call your sheriff's office, and we'll tell you exactly. But my deputies are not going to be taking political signs down, I can assure you.
Well, fall is here, so we just want to make sure that everybody understands that the days are getting shorter. So be aware of that and enjoy the cooler weather. Ha ha. It's not here yet.
They say the next 3 months is going to be extremely hot.
Yes.
I just heard that yesterday, and in fact, ironically, I was coming home yesterday and on Buffalo Soldier Trail, and I got flagged down, and this gentleman was overheating, and so and he has a condition for heat. So I got down, we helped him, we called the ambulance, but again, it goes back to it's hot out there, and people underestimate this time of year that it's okay, it's in the fall. I know autumn's here. Well, it's really hot. It's in the hundreds this week, so be very careful out there.
Drink lots of water.
The Cochise County Teacher of the Year is going to be a little different this year.
Yeah, that's tomorrow at the Sierra Vista Mall. They're doing the Teacher of the Year, and credit to Jackie Clay, again, our county school superintendent, and her staff. They do this every year, and they're doing it different tomorrow. It's going to be at the mall again. It starts at 10 o'clock, and I saw the nominees and the presenters, and I'll be presenting the Teacher of the Year tomorrow. So I'm honored to do that, and I have huge, huge respect for the educators throughout Cochise County and beyond. They do an amazing job of keeping our really molding our children for success. And I just, my hats are off to them. They truly are heroes in communities. And I know, sorry, firemen, they're all sitting going, oh, come on, Sheriff. But it's truly educators. And then law enforcement, then firefighters. Okay, we'll talk later.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
I'm sure my phone will ring, and texts are probably coming in right now.
So looking at that, we're doing business differently. Again, going back to the way that we're having to operate right now. So this is a drive-through event. So I'm assuming that people are going to be there, the families are going to be there in the cars, and they're going to get to see how this goes, and it's going to be filmed. So curious to see how that happens, because we have some events that we would like to host, but we're looking for the best way to get that done. So we might just steal some tips and tricks from Jackie. So
yeah, and I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. I'm at the end of it because the announcement for Teacher of the Year, so my part's, it's not hard to do that, but it builds up, so I'll have a good idea how they're setting it all up, and I really don't know. I'll be there about 9 tomorrow, but again, it's exciting that they're going to do that. We didn't get to do our Top Cop this year, and that's a great event. We honor the top cop of Cochise County from state, local, and federal. So I still like to get that in before the year's over.
We are going to, and that's what I'm looking at this for, because there's got to be a way we could do it.
Yes.
I'm not really fond of thinking about doing it in a Zoom meeting type setting, but some kind of fun, exciting thing, and having that happen, because we really do need to recognize all of these people. And we were ready to rock and roll, and we just weren't able to do that because it was in May, and that was just a super bad time for everybody. So we're hoping to do that and get that taken care of.
Well, we'll see if we can learn tomorrow with the Teacher of the Year.
Take notes.
I'll be taking notes.
And we also have Halloween coming up and trick-or-treating. Now, I'm not sure what everybody's plans are. I know we still have a month to get that done, but we always participate in the Douglas Trunk or Treat. And last year and the year before, we've just had, seriously, last year was about 5,000 kids coming through. And that was just sitting there and having them come and get their candy. It's an incredible, well-attended event by kids. It's going to happen again, but it's a drive-through. So now we're trying to figure out how we're going to be effective in that. So that's going to be interesting to see. But we have a couple of weeks to plan that and see how best we can get that taken care of. So we're out there and we're interacting with the community and having the kids. And that's the situation we need candy too. Yes. I mean, we truly need candy on that. So if you're in a giving mood and you want to give us candy, drop it off any of the sheriff's offices, and we'll get that down to the kids there in Douglas, because it's a huge event. We do our parades in Douglas, the Christmas parade. I mean, we throw candy. It's amazing how many kids come out for that event. So again, if you want to donate some candy to us that we can give to the kids during Halloween, hey, they've been through a lot, so let's give to our kids. That's right. And so we've got some retirements coming up. We do. And first one I want to hit on is Bob Randall. Bob spent 45 years, plus or minus, in law enforcement. Started as a deputy, and that's where he got his good training from, at the sheriff's office here. And then he went to Sierra Vista Police Department, spent the rest of his career there, retired, and then I grabbed him out of retirement to be recommended he be the marshal for Tombstone. And for the last 5 years, he's done a very, very good job over there of leading that city in law enforcement. So he is retiring next week after 45, and that's amazing. 4+ decades of public service, and he still smiles. My leadership team and I went over last week and took him to lunch just to say thank you for him. And so he'll be retiring, so I wish Bob and Laura well into the future, and they well deserve this retirement. And then the other one is Thad Smith. Thad's my chief deputy. Thad started at Huachuca City Police Department, came over to us back in 1992, and has been with us ever since, worked the ranks all the way up to lieutenant. And then when I got elected sheriff, I appointed him as my chief deputy, and he's done an amazing job of leadership, just keeping the mission going, putting structure, and growing the organization along with all of us. And so I'm going to miss him. He retires October 30th. I told him don't retire on Halloween. That just doesn't seem right. A little scary. That's the pun. You guys can use that. But so he's going out October 30th. I'm truly going to miss him, and I know the agency will and the community will. And so we'll see what happens filling his spot. That's not going to be an easy one for me. That's right.
We have some new scams popping up from the post office and FedEx.
And what happens, we have a sheriff's tips line for those of you who want to contact us and you want to remain anonymous, or you have information you want to pass on to us. Just go ahead and email us at sheriffstips@cochise.az.gov. We'll put that out again sheriffstips@cochise.az.gov. I seem to have said that really quickly. If you have any information, put it in there.
And we had an incident here a week and a half ago where a business owner at his business here in Sierra Vista actually was contacted to say they had his son and they were abusing him. What happened was, and they even had a recording that sounded like his son. So the reality of that was right there. In fact, as the business owner told me, he got chills, cold chills. He was like, it kind of froze him on this. So they wanted money, told him to stay on the phone. They didn't want him to disconnect. So one of his staff members left there. I got the call from people that were in the office saying, Sheriff, this is bad. This is what's going on. And so if that happens, and this business owner was very savvy in getting us notified. He went to a business, actually put the business a note, call law enforcement, call Sheriff Daniels. And so we got involved. In the meantime, the staff member did the right thing. They got a hold of his son that was not being held. This was all a scam to get that immediate money, and then boom, they're gone. And to wire it. They wanted him to wire it to a number. Well, you know as well as I do that money's gone. So it turned out positive. Nobody got hurt in that, but there's some really sick people out there when it comes to these scams, and somehow if that happens, you got to get a number to us. You got to find a way to get to us. So whether you play it to the point you get a message that somebody call law enforcement, our great professionals at CCOM will get that message to us, who will respond, and they're sitting right behind me, the CCOM people, and they're like, "Oh, thank you, Sheriff. That was really nice." But again, yeah, just be careful. These people are trying to get your money. Don't give it up.
They are, and for this particular one, they're saying, click on this link because you have a package that's been delivered, or we can't deliver it until you click on this link. Fortunately, with the responses that we've got so far, people are saying, "Oh, I get those 2 times a week, 4 times a week." Don't click on that link because that's what's going to get you. If you don't email them money or wire them money or however you get them money, there's something that's going to happen when you click on that link. Whether it's, your computer gets blasted with a whole bunch of stuff, you get malware, you can have it frozen, then you have to pay money to have them release it, so they hold your computer hostage. And just think about how much stuff you have on that little black box. Just tons and tons of stuff. So you don't want anybody to hijack that.
Oh, no. And like I said, once you, click that button or you divulge your personal information, they're coming. They are truly coming. It's going to change you for a long time. And as a victim of identity theft myself, my wife and I were, that's hard to recover from. And you go through a lot of headaches and stress and trying to get your personal data back in check, because everything you do is now double checked, and then your credit, it's just a bad deal. It's truly a bad deal. So just be careful out there.
We have some graduating detention officers that we'd like to mention.
They they came out of class 1200 for detention. So detention officer Diego Bojorquez and officer Julio Frasquillo, they both graduated.
You did well with that. I was looking at that going.
And they took their pictures, and they were so excited to actually join up and get the opportunity to go to the Correctional Academy in Tucson. And that's quite a feat, because that's a long academy.
It truly is. And again, I can't say enough about it. And, having the ability to, when we first started in law enforcement, we used to have to, we'd come to work, and if they were short in the jail here in Sierra Vista, we'd have to work half shift in patrol, and then we'd work the other shift in detention, booking. So we got a big taste of it back in the day, and my hats are off to our correctional officers. They do an amazing job back there. And so what happens is when we hire these folks to work in the jail, they have 1 year to go to the Correctional Academy. And so that's what you're seeing here. And when you say 1,200, that's the 1,200th class to go through CODA, which is Correctional Officer Training Academy. So what an opportunity for them, too, for young folks that go through there. And we get them at all ages. Well, we're getting a lot of young, which I think is great. They can grow a career. They grew up here. We keep them here. We employ them here. And then they become productive in our community. So it's great. To Diego and Julio, congratulations.
Because they can start at 18 years of age at the jail. So that's a good foot in the door.
And if they make the right decisions through high school, we'd love to hire them.
Okay, good.
And then also, we're looking to hire right now.
Oh, we are. Yeah. We're always hiring in our jail. But we're pretty fortunate. This is almost a good thing. Well, I say almost. I say it because of the budget, because our vacancy savings helps us in a lot of areas. But in this case, we have 1 vacancy in the patrol, and I think we have 3 in the jail right now. So if you're interested in either, let us know. Contact our office, and we'll get you on the path there of success.
It's very important that you are counted in the census, and that's wrapping up here pretty soon.
It is. Is this the last week, Carol? I think it is.
It is.
It's the last week, and I know a lot of people say, well, I don't want to give them that information. What that does is provides funding for public safety. It provides funding for our resources, our social service resources, all the different things that communities thrive on through grants and through mandated funding. So please be counted. I know it's a pain. People think, it's an intrusive by the government. I get all that. But the bottom line is, we're counting people. That's what the main objective is, to count people. We don't care what your religion, your politics, or anything like that is. What we care about is, do you live in Cochise County? And we think it's important. And I worry that our population is going to go down, because I know a lot of people have told me, I'm not doing it, Sheriff. Well, okay.
Well, hopefully they do, because, again,
I agree.
Persons equal dollars. And if you don't think you're ever going to need it, think again, because it impacts everybody.
Well, it does. Population is a huge thing. When I apply for grants through the Sheriff's Office, first thing they ask, how many people live in your county? Because it's all relevant. It really is. So, and Cochise County has taken a hit when it comes to population decrease over the last decade. So this is an opportunity. I know there's a lot of people. Just drive down 92 or down Fry Boulevard on this side of the county, and boy, there's a lot of people. Are we being counted? I hope we are. I really encourage people to do that.
And so what's your safety message of the week? Because we had talked earlier before the show, and we really didn't touch on anything in particular. So what is your safety message of the week?
It's the biggest safety message I'd give is child restraints, protecting children in cars. I can't say that enough. Is when you have a child, and people say, well, is a child 4, 5, or 6, you got to restrain those children. Into whether it be a car seat, whether it be a seat belt. The laws vary based on age and weight, but truly, you just can't have a child sitting in the front seat jumping up and down. I see that, especially in pickups. There's no exception to pickups, folks. So if you have somebody in a car, a child, even if they're 8 years old, make sure they're restrained, because you're there to protect these children that can't protect themselves. They want to bounce on the seat. We don't want them bouncing on the seat. And by the way, if you do bounce on the seat, we will stop and check and make sure they're of weight, they're of age. So again, restrain our young people. Keep them safe.
And going back to the census real quick, what if you haven't been counted? How do you let somebody know that?
Go online. Make sure that you go online to census.gov, and it'll bring it up. It'll take 5 minutes out of your day and answer the questions and be done. They have census workers that are coming into Cochise County. They've been here for a while. We've experienced some issues with people, maybe being overprotective of their property, and I understand being cautious, because you have to. Census workers have a marked vehicle that says census. They have identifications on lanyards. They have a bag that has census. They have cell phones that have the census logo. And if they're talking to you, if you agree to talk to them because you haven't done it online, they use that phone to ask you the questions and enter the information. They're not taking your photograph. Somebody actually had a complaint and threatened a census worker because they thought that she was taking their photo with that phone, but she wasn't. That's not the purpose, and that's not what they end up doing. And so it's difficult sharing your personal information. It is. But again, it all boils down to, how much money do we want to come back into our communities? And please don't threaten people with automatic weapons or guns if they're coming on your property and they have fully marked vehicles and they explain that that's what they're there for.
To keep them off your property, just go online and do your census. It takes 5 minutes at the most. That's what I did. And I encourage people to do that. And then I guarantee they shouldn't be on your property.
That's right.
So again, it's very important to do the census. It really is.
And what's that web address one more time?
That's going to be 2020census.gov.
That was pretty good. You see, she took that top of her head. Hey, one thing I got to give a shout out real quick is that's the Greers.
Oh, yes.
Greers, Stan Greer Millworks out here on South Highway 92 every year. And I'll ask Gary Greer and Debbie and then Stacy, all the Greer family and staff that put this together, but they do Public Safety Recognition Day, and that is today. So public safety, they feed them, they give them able to win raffle prizes. It's just a really nice event to appreciate first responders, from police, fire, EMS. I mentioned fire in a good way, so don't stop the Texas guys. Stop texting me. But it's just great. And our nurses, everybody out there. And so Gary and Debbie and Stacy and all you Osgers, thank you so much for doing it. And all the sponsors. So I'm hoping I can get a list of that sponsors, and we'll cover those next week on the show.
That's right. We definitely will, because they do a great job there. And it's for everybody. They have prizes. It starts for public safety, at 9 o'clock.
You said it right the first time.
And it goes through 1. So it's First Responder Day 2020, and Stan Greer does a great job getting that done.
Yep. Thank you to them.
Well, Sheriff Mark Daniels, thanks for coming and talking to us today.
Have a safe weekend, everyone.
Who do we have coming in next, Carol?
We have our CCOM Director, Alan Smith, and our CCOM Supervisor, Marie Arnold.
It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. We have our next guest in the studio from CCOM. Go ahead and introduce yourself and give us your title.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Got to come a lot closer to that microphone.
All right. I'm Alan Smith. I'm the director at CCOM.
My name is Marie Arnold, and I'm one of the communications supervisors at CCOM.
All right, we're going to talk about a new program that CCOM has, but first let's start off with, what is CCOM?
CCOM is a 911 dispatch center. We're located in Sierra Vista, and we dispatch for several different police agencies, fire agencies, and medical agencies in Cochise County.
So basically this was spread out throughout the county, but now all of the 911 dispatchers are in one area.
For several of the law enforcement agencies, yes, we're a consolidated center. We dispatch primarily for Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Wauchula City Police Department, the Sierra Vista Police Department, and then the Tombstone Marshals.
And also some of the training is now kind of all aimed in one area, and that's what we're going to talk about today, which is the Pro Q&A. What is that?
Pro QA is a software system that our dispatchers will use to quickly gather information, expedite help, and better assist the callers and patients. The system ensures that CCOM is using the most current, universal, and best practices in the 911 industry.
And what does this mean for the citizens of Cochise County?
When citizens call in, the dispatchers will be using this new protocol system primarily for medical and fire questioning at this time. We will be, like I said, following the internationally recognized standards. We're going to be giving universal, consistent care and service to every caller. We'll be gathering the critical emergency information for our responders. We will be more easily able to identify life-threatening situations, prioritize calls for service for fast response, and with this new protocol, we'll be able to provide what we call as a 0-minute response time, which means we'll be giving you pre-arrival instructions, post-dispatch instructions, and really some important life support instructions.
And that's something that was not available before.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's started. And when does this start?
We are going live September 29th on Tuesday.
Awesome. Okay, well, what is the going to change after this is launched?
So after the Pro QA is launched, when citizens call into 911 and they reach CCOM, it will significantly impact our communities and really enhance our ability to help save lives. When you call 911, please understand that for a medical or fire emergency, CCOM may ask you additional questions. This information really helps us inform our fire medical responders who are en route to the scene and be able to provide appropriate resources and information. With this information, we can determine if we need to provide you instructions that can possibly help save someone's life. And this is why if you have an emergency, it's essential to call 911.
Can we just add just real quick? I think what people need to know with this software, what the software does is when you call, say your loved one is having chest pain, you tell the dispatcher, okay, there's chest pain. That software, the dispatcher enters the information, and the software provides additional questions, and that kind of leads to a treatment that the person that's calling can offer while the fire department and the medical people are en route. So it's help immediately. So that's what the software system does for both the medical and the fire. So that's what goes live on the 29th. So citizens are going to see there's going to be, when they call 911, it's going to be a lot more questions. But there's a reason for that. But there's no delay. The information's getting out. It's more information being provided for the first responders, and it's help that's immediate. that they can provide while they're waiting.
Well, let's talk about that. A delay in service, that's not going to be an issue then?
That's right. There will not be a delay in service. With this new software, the dispatcher has the ability to assist callers with instructions while they're on the phone with 911. So it's what we call as dispatch life support instructions. These instructions can include how to get out of a burning house, how to provide CPR, if your accelerator is stuck in your vehicle, or even if someone is trying to deliver a baby. And it may seem like you're on the phone with dispatch a lot longer, but while we're giving these instructions, we've already dispatched the medics or the fire department to come out and help you. So we're just providing those instructions while they're en route.
And what benefits does ProQA have for first responders?
Implementing the medical and fire protocols really helps the dispatchers accurately assess each emergency when callers call in. And with that information, we can send the best response possible while also safeguarding those limited emergency services. That way, we're not sending everybody from the station lights and sirens, and when, let's say, a brush fire comes in for the wash, we have that engine who's able to respond quickly to that brush fire.
And so give us the dates of when this kicks off one more time.
September 29th, which is this Tuesday at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. All right, well, let's talk about hiring. Are you guys hiring right
Can I
now?
add one quick thing?
Sure.
Reference CCOM. I think the most important thing that we can tell this or ask for the citizens, in some areas of the county, everyone's familiar with their local fire department. If you have an emergency, please call 911. Do not call that local department directly, because ProQA operates through the 911 system, through that phone system. So if someone just calls their local department, we're not going to be part of that, and ProQA doesn't exist at that point. So please, if that's the one takeaway, call 911.
Good to know. Okay. All right, well, now let's talk about hiring.
We are hiring, yes. CCOM's hiring. Working in a dispatch center is a challenging and exciting career. It's really not just a job, it's a rewarding career, and you know every day that you're really helping somebody. And we're always looking for people with strong multitasking skills and who can work in a fast-paced environment. You can find the detailed description of requirements and additional information on the City of Sierra Vista Human Resources website. And CCOM also has a new Facebook page. You can find us at CCOM 911. That's SEACOM 911. And we will be putting up a link for hiring on our Facebook page.
And do you guys know the requirements for that? Is there an age requirement or schooling?
There is an age requirement, 18 years old. We don't require any schooling before, because once you are employed with CCOM, we put you through an academy that we create and our own on-duty training.
All right. Well, we thank you guys for coming and catching us up on CCOM, and we look for that launch on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, guys. And coming up, we're going to have more about our jail, so keep it right here. It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and we're going to talk about the jail for a little bit.
We are. We're still, I guess, working on a name for this segment, and I don't know that the cell block segment is going to work, but we had said cell block C. We'll figure out something. We don't even need a name for it, but
right,
just for my programming and writing when I put notes down. But hey, everybody. So Grady Butler is now the Assistant Public Information Officer for the Cochise County Sheriff's Office, and the sheriff announced that several weeks back. He actually started a long time coming and getting this done, but he started by doing his orientation on Monday. We gave him Tuesday off to refigure his brain, and then Wednesday he came in, and then yesterday he came in. So this is going to be his third day today. So what his function is Public Information Officer, and we have him assigned to the Detention Division right now. So some people were saying, well, what kind of sense does that make? I'm not quite sure where we're going with this. What we need to do is, whenever you hear Sheriff's Office, we talk about, a myriad of things, just all the way across the board. But we have to really jump in where detention is concerned, because that's a huge chunk of the sheriff's office. And what we want to do is we want to share that information with you. And there's so many plans, and we have a huge whiteboard. We need to start writing more notes on it. You got to see that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about some of the comments that were on there. We got to erase them. But the rest of them are really good, and different projects that you're going to be working on for the sheriff's office. Including, getting information out there, getting video out there, getting audio out there, so people understand the process. You probably don't want to go and get arrested and go through the booking process to understand what that is. So one of the goals that we have is to have Grady be that conduit for us, and to learn all things detention as much as he can, and then share that information with you so that we can have it out there. And I think it's a really good thing. So welcome aboard again, Grady.
Thank you. And I think that a lot of people know about the Sheriff's Department, and you know about what officers do, but a lot of people don't know what happens behind the scenes. There's so many workers in a jail, and I've learned that in just 3 days. There's so many people that do everything in there, and that's what we want to get that information out and show those people some love as well, but also to let the public know what's actually happening in a jail.
That's right. And I think it's really important that we do that we keep people, our main platform is education, and we want to make sure we do that. And it's not only education for safety and security and everything that goes on that we have an opportunity to impact, in a positive way, but that we want to make sure that you understand the different facets of the sheriff's office. Now, even once we get into this, we're going to be again focusing more on getting information out about our animal control, for example. Just getting information out, getting videos out, getting audio out. This is what they do on a daily basis. Focusing on different people that we have in our organization, our ranch patrol. We do have a ranch patrol division, and those people work closely with our ranchers, and they're out there, and yep, they're on horseback, and they do a phenomenal job on getting all of that stuff taken care of. So there's so much going on internally that we just need to open that up and make sure that we can let everybody just get an up close and personal look at, and we're going to start with detention. And
it's also future looks will be about how all of the agencies around the area work so well together. Even coming in through the jail, we had the Douglas Police Department, Bisbee Police Department. There's so many different things that just kind of work together, and all of that needs to be kind of triumphed into the community as well.
That's right. And your first day down there, the first seconds down there, going through the SVU, where you have the dun-dun. They got that from the jail doors clanging.
Right.
We have that, and you got to see that, just got encapsulated between door 13, door 14, and getting into booking. As soon as you're into booking, you get to see a dynamic where there's an individual standing there dressed in dress clothes, dress shoes, shirt, tie, pants, and then the next thing you see is him being, secured by handcuffs, and you're wondering what in the heck is going on here, but that was somebody that had to be taken out. So there's so many different things that go on there that people just don't know, but we want to make sure that we start sharing that information with the public. So welcome aboard. You have a huge task ahead of you. We are going to have benchmarks, and we're going to see some real information and good things coming out of our organization even by December. That's going to be a goal, to make sure that we've already kicked it off and have a lot of stuff out there by then.
So look for stuff about the jail. It'll be hitting the Facebook page and everything.
Okay, speak to us.
All right. Well, I've got the count for the jail as of yesterday. 141 males, 30 females, and 2 juveniles are currently in custody.
That's right, and we have them all at our that's the number for our Bisbee
right.
Detention, and that's our main location. We have our Wilcox detention also, and that's obviously in Wilcox, and they house people there. Our Sierra Vista detention is the third one, but that's currently closed. They're using that as a COVID ward for anybody who may have symptoms of illness, or maybe new intakes that are exhibiting any type of, hey, I'm not feeling well, et cetera, until they get checked and medically cleared, and then they're able to go into the general population. So it's a really good way to do that. We're looking forward to all of the stuff coming out of there. So, again, look for it.
Before we go, let's give everybody our Facebook and webpage how to find the Sheriff's Office.
So you can find us on our social media at our Facebook is the best way to go because we have Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mark J. Daniels, and on the side of that we have tabs where you can hit our YouTube channel, which again is going to be populated with more videos as soon as we can get that done in the next month or two. We also have our Twitter account that's connected to that. We have our Instagram account. So we're going to be really making that more robust for you to get to it. So again, our Facebook is Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mark J. Daniels. Our Twitter is CC_Sheriff. Our webpage is cochise.az.gov/sheriff. Lots of good information on there, so make sure you take a look.
It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Only on